just have to make it to air.
This week on Talking About the Movies, come take a trip with us back in time to October 11th, 1975, when NBC debuted Saturday Night Live and relived the chaotic 90 minutes before the show went on the air. We'll talk about Jason Reitman's latest film about the first episode of Saturday Night Live, simply titled Saturday Night. Plus,
You can't be me, I'm a rock star.
This song is ridiculous.
Who did that?
Pharrell.
Wow.
Pharrell Williams decides to tell us his story of how he became the music icon that he is today through a very unconventional way. Through the power of Legos, as Lego and Universal bring us their first movie under their new deal, the Pharrell Williams documentary, that's also kind of a biopic as well, Piece by Piece. It's a double feature this week on Talking About the Movies. And welcome to Talking About the Movies. This is the show, of course, where we take a look at some of the biggest new releases of the last couple of weeks. At least on this show, we're going to be doing that because, as I said the last time we met, there's a lot of movies I have to catch up on. I didn't get to see Joker or Megalopolis last week, so that's why there wasn't the show. But I wanted to see the two movies that we're going to be talking about today because they were not big hits at the box office. They were critically praised movies in general, and they were movies that I really wanted to see. So that's going to be the focus of our show today. We're going to take a look at Piece by Piece, the Pharrell Williams Lego music biopic, if you will. But before we get to that, though, let's talk about our first movie. With all that said, live from New York, it's Saturday Night. I apologize for that. But then again, what other time am I ever going to get to say that in front of an audience? But Saturday Night, the story about the night that Saturday Night Live premiered on NBC on October 11th, 1975. And in this movie, it takes place in real time over the course of 90 minutes where you have a young Lorne Michaels played by Gabriel Lebrel, who played Steven Spielberg in The Fabelmans, another great criminally underrated movie that came out a couple of years ago. Leading a cast that includes a lot of talent that you may be very familiar with. You have Rachel Sennott, Corey Michael Smith, Ella Hunt, Dylan O'Brien, Lamont Morris, Finn Wolfhard, Cooper Hoffman, Andrew Barthelman, and Tommy Dewey, Nicholas Braun, all playing these different people, iconic people in the history of Saturday Night Live. Also, you have J.K. Simmons starring as Milton Berle, Willem Dafoe as an NBC executive. And the whole movie is about the crazy situation that took place when it's in that 90-minute span when they had to put Saturday Night Live together. And these guys had no idea what they were doing. They were on drugs most of the time. And they literally will tell you in documentaries that there was a lot of drugs and alcohol back in the day. It was the 1970s. Of course, there was more free range to do whatever you want. And NBC was giving them this opportunity. As in the trailer, the Dick Ebersol character in this movie, played by Cooper Hoffman, is telling them they want the show to fail because they believe that the reruns of the Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson are more profitable. But Lorne Michaels' whole plan all along is to prove to everybody wrong, prove to them that this show has had merit. These people have a reason to be there, and that's what the movie is all about. This is directed by Jason Reitman, whose last movie we saw from him was Ghostbusters Afterlife, which was my favorite movie of 2021. I really loved that movie. I loved Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which was written by Reitman and directed by Gil Kenan. Here, it's the other way around. Gil Kenan is one of the writers here, and Reitman is back as director. And in terms of Saturday Night Live, I love the show. Back in the day, there were definitely a lot of times during Saturday Night Live's run where, yeah, there were bad runs. Everyone can talk about 1980. Everyone could talk about 85, 86. There was the stretch run. There were some runs during the peak years, during the revival years, like the late 80s, early 90s, when they had that great stretch run, and then the 90, late 90 to early 2000s. The most recent streak of seasons, the last couple of seasons, have definitely been on the lower end. It's not really the show's fault and all that. It's just it's kind of stuck in a time period where we're kind of in a time period where the Saturday Night Live that we used to know and love just isn't there anymore. Just sketch comedy, late night comedy as a whole has been so watered down because of the way the world is now that a show like Saturday Night Live just really is not as approachable nowadays as it was back in the day. Like back in 1975, this was a groundbreaking show, and it shows from the very beginning how these people really came together and created a show that really nobody expected to be the success that it was. And it's had this history now that has been on for nearly 5 decades now. And in this movie, you definitely see why Lorne Michaels is so passionate about why he wants the show to succeed. He's putting everything on the line for this show in general. He's a young guy who has no idea how to put the show to is how this is going to work out in the end. Like, he keeps telling everybody is like, when everybody keeps asking him what the show is about, he doesn't know until we get to the very end of the movie. But you still see the passion behind him, and he's trying so hard to, when he has that breaking point towards the end of the movie, where he has no idea how he's going to make it work, and like he feels like there's nothing he can do about it because he's got everything going around him that's going chaotically out of control. And yeah, it's a really good. This movie really is a fantastic film. This is probably high up there with one of my favorite movies of the year. This was a movie that I was looking forward to, and it did not disappoint at all. I thought this was a really good movie, mostly because of the great cast they have involved in here. Like I said, Gabriel LaBelle, who did such a great job as Steven Spielberg in The Fabelmans. I mean, this kid is going to become a really good actor in the future. I really do feel like he's got a bright future ahead of him. He's fantastic in the movie. You feel his passion for this show in general when everyone is telling him this can't go the way you think it wants to. Like, everybody else in the cast is so perfectly handled. Cooper Hoffman, the son of Philip Seymour Hoffman, does a great job as Dick Ebersol. The actors in here who play the not ready for primetime players are very good. Corey Michael Smith is great as Chevy Chase. Dylan O'Brien from The Maze Runner is surprisingly really good as Dan Aykroyd. I was really impressed by him in this film. Matt Wood, who plays John Belushi. Someone said on social media that, with this new X-Men movie series that's probably going to come from Marvel Studios down the road, the guy who plays John Belushi could possibly be a good Wolverine. And quite honestly, I tend to agree. I really had to think about it. You could see this guy potentially really making that character of Wolverine come to life with this actor in general here. Matt Wood does a really fantastic job of playing Belushi in here. Like, you feel like every single one of these characters are really channeling the roles that they're supposed to be playing. Ellen Hunt, Emily Farron, and also Kim Matula, who play, I think Ellen Hunt is Gilda Radner, Emily Farron is Lorraine Newman, and Kim Matula is Jane Curtin. They don't get as much screen time as the male characters in here, but when they're on screen, they're really good, and they really do play their parts very well to a T. Lamorne Morris from New Girl, playing Garrett Morris, I thought was very good. I thought he was very well done in the film. Everybody plays their parts well to a T. John Baptiste, who plays Billy Preston. I keep forgetting these names, but I just saw the movie today. But he was really good as Billy Preston. I thought everybody channeled the roles really well. Rachel Sennott playing Rosie Schuster. I don't know what it is, man, but that woman, Rachel Sennott, I don't know why I've been so fascinated by her lately, but everything I've seen her in, like she's beautiful, but she's also very, very good in a lot of the things that I've seen her in. I've seen her in Bottoms. I saw her recently in there was a movie. I can't remember these names now. I Used to Be Funny is the name of the movie. I haven't seen her in Shiva Baby. I haven't seen her in the I just had the name. See, this is the problem with doing these reviews off the cuff without having the thing right in front of me, because now I have to do my research. Bodies. Good Lord, that won't be the last time. Watch, but as Rosie Schuster, I thought she was really good in the movie. Like you could tell that she and Lorne Michaels used to be an item. Now they've gone separate ways, but they still are very committed to getting this show on the air in general here. That they put their differences aside for the most part, and they do have this little relationship that is nicely put together. There's a lot of great moments throughout the course of the film where there's a lot of moments where she has to be the other person, has to keep this whole thing together, whether it's when Lorne Michaels isn't there. You have Nicholas Braun, who I did not know this had a dual role as both Jim Henson and Andy Kaufman, and I thought that was actually really good. Like, I couldn't tell the difference between one or the other, just like I couldn't tell the difference between Milton Berle and J.K. Simmons. I knew J.K. Simmons was in the movie. I had no idea he was playing Milton Berle until I saw him. And it's just like, that's J.K. Simmons. It's just like the way that, like, he just has that. He and Milton Berle just look so alike in this movie and in real life. Like, it's amazing how they came so close to getting everybody down, from their mannerisms to the way they look. I mean, this is an impressive job for this movie. The movie does a great job of making you feel like you're on it. It is literally that day in history, October 11th, 1975, and it starts right at 10 o'clock and goes straight to the start of the show. And they do a pretty good job of channeling the old SNL sketches, even though that is one of my few little nitpicks I have with the movie. They throw in a little bit too much of the references to other jokes. Like, they have all these jokes that they have set up from classic comedy sketches that would later be seen in other episodes, and then would eventually get cut out from the main first episode. And it's just like, I feel like they were just put in there solely because, solely because of the fact that, this is a Saturday Night Live movie. We've got to bring up all the classic sketches in here. Like, that was one of the few little nitpicky things here and there. The other nitpicky thing I would say is, like I said before, Jane Curtin, Gilda Radner, and Lorraine Newman don't really have much of an arc in this movie in general, as much as like Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase, and John Belushi do. But I thought everybody did their jobs the way they needed to. The cast in here is just pitch perfect. You want to root for everybody to get to this point in time when they have to go and do the show at 11:30, and the whole message that Gabriel LaBelle's Lorne Michaels gives at the end about what Saturday Night Live is all about, I thought was very well done. I thought it was a terrific scene. Basically telling Willem Dafoe, who's kind of like the antagonist of the movie, where he has to basically tell them what Saturday Night Live is all about, and the way the speech he gives works very well, and the way that they convince him to let the show go on. Andy Kaufman does this bit with the Mighty Mouse sketch, and then Chevy Chase comes in to do Weekend Update, because there's a scene early on where it's Lorne Michaels doing it, and then Chevy Chase does it, and like you see all the laughs starting to come into play, and everything just comes together so well in this movie. I mean, this is a really impressive feat of a film, and I love a lot of Jason Reitman's works. He very rarely misses as a director. I think the worst thing he ever did was Labor Day, which even then wasn't a bad movie, but it was definitely more melodramatic than the other movies that he's more known for doing. But I love this movie so much. This is a really, really damn good movie, and one that I highly recommend checking out. I know it's probably going to be out of theaters soon because it's not doing well at the box office, but when it hits digital, when it hits streaming, when it hits physical media, I plead with you to watch this movie, because you're missing out on one of the best movies of the year. This really is one of the best movies of the year from a great director who very rarely misses in Jason Reitman. I think this is a terrific film, boasted by strong performances. It's a great love letter to Saturday Night Live without feeling like it's being forced out by, it's not being forced in this story that doesn't feel like it could possibly happen. I mean, people like Dan Aykroyd, who obviously were there, have even come out and said that this is about as accurate as you're going to get with a movie like this. And for that, I think the movie deserves a lot of credit. I highly recommend this movie, and this is the problem with this time of the year, especially this year, because Saturday Night and the next movie we're going to be talking about here just adds to a list of movies that I just love so much from this year. It's going to be really hard to put together a full top 10 list without taking out movies that I love so much. Like, this probably is overall one of the best years for movies I've ever seen, and it's great, and including movies like this, you can definitely see why. So I highly recommend Saturday Night. Definitely check it out. I give it a thumbs up. I give it 2 thumbs up. It's a must watch. So let's go ahead and move on to the second film we have here, our last film too, but it's Piece by Piece. So Piece by Piece is essentially a Pharrell Williams documentary. It's not really a biopic, but it kind of is a biopic in a way. And as the trailers show, Pharrell Williams talks to the director Morgan Neville and just says, I want to tell my story through Legos. And, through the power of Legos, they incorporate Williams' faith in expressing his artistry by means of Legos, while also discussing his life and musical career with a ton of notable names in the cast, very familiar names such as Gwen Stefani, Kendrick Lamar, Timbaland, Justin Timberlake, Busta Rhymes, Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, Missy Elliott, Tyler the Creator, Daft Punk, a lot of people in this movie, a lot of faces you'll be very familiar with. I mean, and most notably, this is the first Lego feature released by Universal, because back when the Lego movies came out through Warner Brothers, after the Lego movies, the Lego Movie 1 and Lego Movie 2, as well as the Ninjago movie and the Batman movie came out, Universal then came in to start producing these Lego movies, and we have been waiting so long to find out what a Universal Lego movie was going to look like, because it had been 5 years. It's been 5 years since that announcement was made, and we hadn't seen anything up to that point until now. And I gotta say, man, like, I really was. I wanted to. I saw the trailer. I thought it looked really good. I wasn't expecting it to be as good, if not better, than the Lego Movie. I mean, it's not. It's almost right at the Lego Movie, because Lego Movie is one of my favorite movies of all time, and this is right on the cusp of that being on that level. I mean, this is a phenomenal movie from just an animation perspective. You know, the soundtrack, of course, features a ton of classic songs. Some great direction. You know, the whole identity of the movie is very impressive. The voice work, very top notch. I want to go back to the animation, because maybe the most surprising thing I found out about this movie, which I found out the weekend this movie came out, was that, guess what the budget on this movie was? Now, the Lego movies before this were like between $75 million. I think the highest was maybe $100 million, $150 million. This thing cost $16 million to make. For a $16 million movie like this to look as good, if not better, than the original Lego Movie did, I gotta give them a lot of credit, man. I mean, bravo, like that's impressive that you were able to do so much with that small amount of money in general, and you created such a stylistic and cool looking film that is just, like, it's amazing. It's amazing how they were able to make a movie on the level of the Lego Movie, except do something that's on a much smaller budget, a much smaller scale, and create a movie that's just as engaging and entertaining and just groundbreaking to watch in general here. This movie pulls no punches either. Like, that's what I love about this movie, is that it takes chances on a number of different levels. There's literally scenes where they're showing you the Black Lives Matter protests through Legos. Like, that's incredible that they were able to not only pull that off, but they did it in a way where it didn't feel like it was just being slammed in your face. Like, this felt like something that would definitely make sense in the scenario that they're setting it up in. Like, it doesn't feel like it's just forcing it in there. Like, it's part of the story, and I think it works very well of what they're trying to accomplish here. It's a very different film from all the other Lego movies that I've seen beforehand. And I've liked all the Lego movies that have come before this. I'm one of the few people that really likes all the Lego films. I like the Lego Movie. I like the Lego Batman movie. I actually like the Lego Ninjago movie, and I like Lego movie 2. So, yeah, going into this, I was really hoping that we'd get something as great as the other movies are, but I did not expect this to be as amazing as this movie was. This is an impressive feat of a film that works on just so many levels. From everything about it works. There are very few flaws in this film. Like I said, with Saturday Night, a lot of little nitpicky things here and there, but nothing that I can say that's something that's really against the movie in general. I think this film did a phenomenal job of taking a lot of chances with the way this film was produced, and actually creating a very unique and impressive documentary that hasn't really been done before, especially with this caliber of work that they put behind it. I don't have much more to say about it, man. This is a fantastic, fantastic film, and I can't recommend this one enough. It's an amazing movie. Again, one of the best movies of the year. One of the best Lego movies I've ever seen, and that's saying a lot. Because Lego has made a lot of good films in the past, but this is right up there with the original Lego movie. I really love this movie a lot. I can't recommend it enough. So, like with Saturday Night, I'm giving this 2 thumbs up. One of the best movies of the year. Definitely seek this one out. So, with all that said, we wrap up this episode of talking about the movies, and probably next week I'll probably give Venom: The Last Dance a shot. I'm not making any guarantees about it, but it's a slow week. If Joker's not playing next week, or Megalopolis, which, let's be honest, Megalopolis is probably already out of theaters at this point. I didn't get to really check today, but I probably will check out Venom: The Last Dance on the next show. So that'll probably be the next review. If not, probably won't see me again on this particular show until mid-November, because nothing really is coming out after next week. That it's going to be worth talking about, at least until we get to mid-November, and that's when they start putting out all the big holiday releases. But besides all that, thank you so much for watching this. If you want to hear my thoughts on The Wild Robot and Transformers 1, go ahead and hit the link right here. Also, go ahead and hit the playlist so you can check out some of the other reviews I've done in the past. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below on both Piece by Piece and also Saturday Night. You agree with me? You think they're the best movies of the year? If you like these videos, hit the like, subscribe, and notification button. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and I will see you guys next time. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Until then, take care.